Hey, today I'm actually going to tell you all a story that I read on Reddit maybe 4 or 5 years ago now. This story follows a man named Ronald Reed, and Ronald is undeniably one of the most gangster individuals I've ever read about. This man served in World War II early on, and then came out and spent some time working at a gas station as a service attendant for his brother. And then not long after that, he moved into a janitorial role at J.C. Penney, where he spent most of his career. After years of working and eventual retirement, he did pass away at the age of 92. But what's notorious about Ronald is that at the end of his life, he had amassed a fortune of over $8 million, and he never made more than 25 grand a year while working. He went ahead and donated almost 5 million of that to a library, and then another large chunk of that to a hospital. So what really happened was that my guy Ronald was a loyal man, loyal to his own plan. He lived a relatively simple life where he lived frugally and invested a majority of his money that he earned yearly, but kept doing so year over year, just turned to decades over decades. And he just kept buying the same stocks of companies that he knew about, like Procter and Gamble, Johnson and Johnson, and GE. He actually did not start investing until he was 38. And I know most of you guys watching this is probably a friend of mine and currently much younger than 38, so it may seem like Ronald was a little late to the game, but he still made it. At the end of his life, most of his friends and family actually had no idea this man was so stacked. On the outside, he looked like just any other Uncle Ron, but that's where I have the most respect for this man. Never truly let his wealth show, right? By the time he was 50 or 60, he already had a millions to his name and he could have done anything with it, but he was already happy with what he did have. He didn't see the need to spend more now that he had more. And this is actually something that many of us will succumb to this lifetime. It's called lifestyle inflation. Just because you get a raise at work and now make a few $1,000s extra doesn't mean you have to spend a few thousand more on clothes every year. Ronald for sure just wore whatever the hell he wanted. Straight badass, this guy. And I think his story ultimately shows the difference between being rich and being wealthy. These are two separate words for a reason, right? Even if they do both show up on the dictionary next to each other in terms of synonyms, but Ronald was not only rich monetarily, but he was also wealthy in terms of patience and things like that. It's something we just can't buy. Um, that's all for tonight. Good night, guys.